we've been in business 6 years, and for the first 4, it was rough. Things are changing dramatically for the business in a very, very positive way.
All right, Larry, so what do you call a factory that makes okay products?
Wow, just jumping into it. I don't know. Is it supposed to be a joke?
It's a satisfactory.
Okay.
Welcome back. Another episode of Mission Control Podcast. We're at episode 124. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, folks, and we appreciate you tuning in. We've got a very special guest, Larry with Grandview Roofing and Exteriors. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you, dude. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming. You look great, by the way.
Dude, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. So, and shout out to the team at Roofer. They help make all this happen. So if you need instant roof quotes, CRM, roof proposals that'll give your prospects no choice but to buy. Make it an easy choice, folks. Click the link down in the description. Get with the team at Roofer. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. So, Larry, how's New Jersey treating you?
Good. It's finally nice to break out of this extreme heat and get into these cooler temperatures. I know the guys like it. So things are going good, man. Things are going really good.
Yeah, here in Buffalo, I was really hoping for like a nice fall, maybe a month or two of like 60 to 70, a little bit of sun, and it's, kind of not happening. It's more like 50 and rainy, or, we got like a really hot week a few weeks back, so it was like 75, 80.
Did you guys go from extreme heat to extreme cold?
Yeah, Mother Nature's bipolar around these parts.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll hopefully get that fixed at some point. What got you into roofing?
That's a good question. I mean, my dad was into construction, so I was around it kind of my whole life. But my dad, dropped out of high school in 10th grade, really pushed me to go to college, and he's like, "Hey, I dropped out of school. I want to see you finish. I want to see you go to college." I tried, didn't. I think I lasted like a semester in college, and then I found myself skipping college to go to work. And went right into construction. So I've been in the construction industry about 20 years.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. Similar story. My dad too dropped out of high school, did roofing and construction. And, he was trying to protect me. He wouldn't teach me anything.
Yep.
You're not going to fall. You're not going to fall in the same trap I did.
Yeah.
Okay? And now I, am the least handy person. I have to pay somebody to do anything, and it really backfired. I appreciate the sentiment, but yeah. So that's fantastic. What was your first job specific to roofing?
In the exterior remodeling side of things, it was mostly siding and windows. My general manager, Matt, who came up with this, he had approached me. He had owned a Window World franchise and said, "Hey, I'm looking for help with installers." I was like, "Yeah, I guess I'll help you until I figure out what else I want to do." So I did that, and then that led to me starting my own company and doing subcontract work, and then getting into roofing about a year after starting into windows and siding.
Talk to me about the transition from like being exclusively a sub to then, procuring your own jobs and being more self-sustainable.
At first, it was nice. You kind of knew doing subcontract work, even for a lot of the big players now that we did a lot of work for when I first started. It was, where you were going, but it was the grind and hustle of 12, 14-hour days trying to get jobs done, submitting paperwork to get paid that week. So it was like a lot of physical burnout. And then, when I slowly transitioned and I was like, "Hey, I can't do this subcontract work. I need to build out my own clientele." Switching over to my own business instead of subcontract work. It was a lot of like the mental burnout. Really trying to build out your own customer base and build out your own brand.
Yeah. So, Eric Reno with Paramount, and I had him on, and he was talking about like that exact scenario. And he's like, I would work all day. I'd go to a McDonald's, grab something to eat, take a bird bath, right? And then go do sales at night, trying to sell my own customers to build a self-sustainable brand, right? Did you kind of have that experience too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even doing subcontract work, I mean, you're getting paid per square or per window that you're installing. So it's like you're not taking breaks throughout the day. You're really trying to get it done as fast as possible. Not really taking breaks, but then at the same time, you're trying to finish up that subcontract work and then go run estimates for your own jobs. So yeah, I mean, the hustle in the beginning is strenuous. That's for sure.
Yeah. So familiar with the upside of deciding to, sell your own customers, produce your own jobs versus subcontracting. Was there, and there's obviously, and I think that, a lot of people discount what it takes to do that, to transition to now you're responsible for everything. You don't just show up and install 20 squares, right? You got to do everything start to finish, top to bottom. Was there ever a moment where you kind of second guessed yourself where it's like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. I was even talking about this with one of my guys yesterday. Oh, for sure. Like you get to a point and you're like, what am I doing? Like before I had a cushy job, 6 to 2:30. Worked for the state, off major holidays. And I'm like, why did I give that up to do this? Like, so yeah.
So what was the answer to that question that kept you going?
Man.
Questions here.
That's a really good question. I mean, it was really never, it was the being scared of the uncertainty if I shut everything down and bankruptcy and everything like that. That scared me more than pushing through and knowing what is possibly on the other side of that hill. And honestly, even networking and talking to guys like Eric from Paramount and like hearing their stories, guys like that. Like, I mean, I watched Eric for years, and seeing his story and really talking to guys like that and knowing that, hey, it's not always going to be doom and gloom and stress and chasing money down and, pushing through and getting to the other side of the hill, man, is that's where it's at.
Yeah. It's funny. I listened to a podcast a while back and they were talking like motivation, like motivating factors and like what's more motivating, running from something like a fear or, running towards something. And I got to find the study, but essentially what they did was they hooked up a rat in a cage to like, some sort of monitoring device that tracked like pull. And, they put, I forget what it was, in front of them to get them motivated and, tracked like the force of them pulling towards that. And then they put a cat behind the cage and the force was substantially higher with the cat.
Oh yeah.
So the fear was the more motivating factor.
Yeah.
And I think that's oftentimes the case with people, right? It's like, I don't want to go back to where I was. I know this, I want this for my family. I know this is going to help make that possible. So when you have those moments of doubt and despair and things feel like like at their worst, they're usually not. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend yesterday and they're going through it. And it's like, I'm like, dude, you can get a call in 5 minutes. And after that conversation, you would beg to only be dealing with the problems that you're having now. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
It's hard to see the forest through the trees sometimes, but the forest is there.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to kind of, shift our perspective and reframe things. Right.
I think it's too having a clear vision and like just not going through Groundhog's Day every single day. I think being able to have a clear vision and you and Eric kind of turned me on to EOS and like practicing what they preach, like getting that 90-day vision, getting that 1 year vision, getting that 3 year vision. Like I think that's really important because a lot of times, especially in this industry, you're hustling and you're grinding, you're working 12, 14-hour days. And then you wake up one day and you realize you've been doing the same thing for 3, 4, 5 years and you haven't grown. You've been doing the same thing. Nothing's changed. But I think being able to take a step back, be really self-aware and understand, like, I don't like the trajectory of where things are going right now and I need to make a change. And making that change is so important.
But how do you pull your head above water? Like it feels sometimes running a business like you're being waterboarded, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, to your point, the importance of clarity, how do you pull your head above water, have that clarity, and then most importantly, keep that clarity day to day when everything is, going the way that it goes and things are on fire and you're putting fires out and you're dealing with X, Y, and Z. Do you have a specific exercise or method or framework that you use to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, let's reset? What does that look like?
Yeah, and you know how it is as a business owner. I mean, people are going to require or want your attention 23 and a half hours a day. You need to find that clear break and really just break yourself away from it. Like if people are demanding your attention, hey, I need to meet with you at 8. Oh, hey, can you come here at 10? Can you come here at 11? Take a clear break, sit there, almost understand and reevaluate where you're at in your life and why you're there. I don't know how many times I did it where I left for work and I sat and parked in a Wawa parking lot for an hour and I just reassessed where I've been the last week, the last month, the last year. And if it's something that I don't like where I'm going, you need to change that. It drives, and you know how it is. We know somebody mutual who is like, will complain about where they've been the last 3, 4, 5 years, but they won't make a change. Like I don't understand. It's just crazy to me. But finding that time to really separate yourself, pull out all the outside distractions and really just take time for yourself and reevaluate, put pen to paper, like where you want to be and really focus on that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's something I struggled with early on, like boundaries and like trying to be accessible to everybody at all times. Yep. And, it's really hard to keep that momentum. And more importantly, like other people and other aspects of your life suffer because of it. I'm not a huge myself, like work-life balance person, like, cause I feel really good when I work, I'm productive. Yeah. I help people, like that makes me feel fulfilled. Yeah. But also, you do need time to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to dinner with my daughter. I'm not taking anybody's fucking call. Like, I hit you up and you're like, yo, I'm taking the wifey on a date tonight. I'll hit you tomorrow. I was like, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, even for like mental peace too, dude, like you need to be able to do that. Like, you know how it is. Like if you're always easily accessible to people are going to be hitting you up all the time. But to be able to take that break and be like, I'm putting my phone down. I'm going out with my wife. I'm spending time with 5 kids at home. Like to be able to take that break, like you're going to be a better person because of it.
Right. What do you, there's a lot of people that I've experienced in the industry who consume a lot of knowledge, right? They watch YouTube videos, they talk to people, they're at industry events, and they accumulate all this knowledge. And then you don't see the action behind it, right? It's on to the next thing to learn. And they become this encyclopedia or Wikipedia of all this knowledge, but never execute any of the things that they're learning. Or they start to implement it and then it fades, right? It's on to the next shiny thing. And then now you've got a bunch, 120% completed projects that you're trying to implement, none of which have any impact. Yeah. Have you found a way to hedge against that? Because what I've noticed about you, Larry, is that when you learn something, you implement that and you do it quickly, right? The runway is very short. Yeah. Have you ever struggled with like that type of issue that I referenced? Or has it always been, if I find something impactful, I know it's going to help me, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make sure that it gets implemented?
It's definitely something because I am that ADD. I'm all over the place. Like like I'll be sitting with you. I'll be talking with you on the phone, and then I'll be like, oh, that was an 03 Cobra. Like I'm so distracted all the time. But like when I find something that I'm really dedicated to and really piques my interest, I'm hyper focused. So I'd say I didn't learn that until later in life. But being able to pull myself out of my current day to day and really focus and get a clear vision on like what I want. That's been huge for me.
What's the time that you've been afraid in your business? Like afraid that things weren't going to work out? Have you ever had like a massive event happen where you're like, I don't see a way out of this?
Oh, honestly, it was, and I was saying this to one of my guys yesterday, it was probably about 2 years ago. Coming up on 2 years ago when we were getting ready to leave the current network that we were with, the digital marketing company that we were with. And it was just, I didn't have set systems and processes in place. Like I was going based on what they were trying to tell me was successful to them. I was scared to death, dude. And I remember like talking to my attorney and I'm like, do you know a good bankruptcy attorney in case this doesn't work out? Like I genuinely, that was where I was at about 2 years ago. And now it's just like, again, it goes back to that. Hey, I know what I'm doing right now is not working, and I can't continue on this path. And I had to make a change. But yeah, that was man, maybe about 2 years ago, or maybe even a little bit less.
How'd that feel in that moment?
Terrifying.
Yeah,
terrifying. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever been through.
Yeah. What do you find is helpful for you as far as, because anyone who's watching this that is in management, owns a company, I'm sure that there's instances where they have a similar feeling that's evoked, maybe a different circumstance causes the emotion, but that, oh, fuck, right? Like, are we going to get through this, et cetera?
Yeah.
Right? So is there something that you find helpful as far as coping to get through that type of situation that's worked for you?
I mean, definitely having the conversation with people in the industry. Like, that was one of the big things, that I really appreciated about you. It's like when we first started working together, dude, I hit you up on a whim and I'm like, Mike, I'm going through this. I'm thinking about this. And you're like, hold on 1 second. And then you called me back like 3 minutes later and you had a buddy from a roofing company from Florida. And we talked, I think it was Corey. Mm-hmm. And we talked for like the next 30 minutes, like be able to be vulnerable to people. I can't stand the people or business owners that are out there and you have conversations with them and they're like, oh yeah, things are going great and we're doing 20 million and we're doing 25 million. Like, be able to have that vulnerable conversation, because who knows what can come from that vulnerability. I mean, you put me in touch with Corey. He gave me phenomenal insight. I talked to you a little bit and you were like, hey, why don't you come out and visit Eric at Paramount? And I was like, that's a great idea. We went out and we visited and we spent a long time together that entire day, and we learned a lot from it, and we came back, we brought on EOS, we implemented it, dude. And I mean, and things are changing dramatically for the business in a very, very positive way. And looking back 2 years ago, I would have never thought we'd be in the situation or position that we're in now if I didn't put myself out there, have the vulnerable conversations with you and people that I knew that I could trust, and it would have possibly been in these situations.
Well, thank you for that, and I'm glad that it's been impactful. How do you go for people that have been through like working with different marketing agencies and they've had experiences that are less than desirable? Like, how do you get to a place where you can have confidence in somebody that they're going to be an impactful partner for your business? I know that you've seen some of what people were saying, but I'm sure even so, like going into it, there's some sort of trepidation. Right, just because of history tends to repeat itself, and marketing companies, they have a real stigma around them, just like roofers, right? So we can
yeah.
So how did you push past that?
I mean, I can honestly say before working with Ascend, I was probably with 3 or 4 digital marketing companies. The biggest thing that stood out to me was like it was like me moving on with Ascend, but it wasn't just Ascend. Like, it was a good friend relationship with you. Like, you have a big network of people that you're not afraid to have the conversation and be like, dude, I can help you out. Let me introduce you to this person. What about this? Have you ever thought about this? With all the other digital marketing companies, it's a phone call once a month. It's, hey, here's how your money performed. Here's what we can do. This is what we've seen in the market. But like, it wasn't just digital marketing services. It was like, dude, hey, I got you. If you need something, like if I maybe know somebody that I could steer you on to and you can pick their brain, or you were always willing to help. And I think that was a big part of my success and really kind of breaking through, is being able to, again, have those vulnerable conversations and be like, dude, this is what I'm struggling with. But yeah, all I can honestly say, all the other digital marketing companies that I had worked with, it was the same thing. It was they take my money. They'd be like, oh, we can promise you this much, and then the proof wasn't in the pudding. Like, it just they weren't performing and they weren't human being about it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, and we hear that a lot. And thank you again. That's an incredible endorsement. It's our 6 core values: do the right thing, right, and that looks like that looks very different, and depending on what the situation and the circumstances surrounding it are. But at the end of the day, if you're working with a marketing agency, there's so many things outside of what you're hired to do that, adjacently are impacted And where if people just care and they're showing initiative and they pay attention, like they have opportunities to help their clients, right? So if you were to call me and it's like, hey, Mike, let's increase budget 50% for ads. And I noticed that 40% of your calls aren't answered. We could get more leads, or we can make more use of the ones that we're not getting. And I'm not saying that you're not answering 40% of your calls, but like that's happened a lot in the past where somebody's like, hey, let's leads, let's spend more money. And where most companies are like, yeah, fuck it, let's ride. Like having a team that's like, hey, well, first, why don't we try to make more of what we're doing currently, the money that you're spending? Let's look at not just the symptom, let's look at the root cause. Like the root cause is that you're spending money so somebody's not picking up the phone. So how can we engineer a process to where that doesn't happen any longer, right? And that stuff goes a long way. And we're not doing anything outside of what we would typically do. I had an interview yesterday, and she's like, what is a characteristic of somebody at your company and the people at your company that you think makes them good at what they do? It's like, honestly, like curiosity and initiative, right? Like if you're always curious and asking questions and kind of questioning what's going on, why is it going on, how is it happening, how can we make it better? And like you have the initiative to work cross-departmentally, cross-functionally with different teams and different people, like that's a recipe to create the best type of dish possible, right? Because a lot of the other stuff you can kind of teach. But for people that are innately curious and have that initiative and they're proactive, those are the things that I want within my company, because I know that has served our clients very well historically. So it's like, yeah. She's like, that's a really good answer. I said, oh, thank you. By the way, hiring is my least favorite part of running a company.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually told that to one of the candidates recently. They're like, well, I was like, I'm going to be entirely transparent with you. Like the least favorite part of me doing anything within my company is having these fucking conversations. Yeah. So I want my forever person in this role. Yeah. If it gets to the point where you're offered the job, just know, like, I feel very strongly that you're that forever person, because the last thing I ever want to do is have this conversation with anyone ever again. Yeah. And they're like, wow. It's like, I'm just, transparent.
Throwing it out there. Yeah.
The whole song and dance of recruiting and, interviewing and this first interview, second interview, offer, like, dude. I think that resonates with a lot of people that I speak to in the roofing space too, right? Because it's tough. Whether you're trying to find, a salesperson, a project manager, general manager, you think that those people might be more ubiquitous than they are. Like finding that right fit can be challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt.
What are some of the things that have made hiring a little bit easier for you, even if it's a small improvement?
Like you had mentioned about your 6 core values, I think being able to present that, one of the first things that's what you present. Like, hey, we might be a little bit different from a previous company that you worked with. And you know how it is. People come in, especially from the industry that you're related to, and they say, well, at my last company, I did this. At my last company, I did this. And they're like, hey, listen, here's our 6 core values. We run our company based around these. And if you don't think you can fit that mold and be that person and have that moral compass, then this isn't going to be the right fit. I don't care. And I've had sales reps come in here trying to interview for positions and promising the world that they're going to bring in this much in revenue and they're a killer closer at their other company and their ADL is crazy high. And like, dude, if you're not your moral compass isn't aligned with ours and you don't fit our 6 core values, then we're just not doing business together. That's just the reality of it. Like, again, having a clear vision on like what type of people that you want to hire, not evenly just skill set, but again, like going back to moral compass, if you're not aligned with that, it's just not going to work. I don't care what kind of person you are.
Yeah, I like that answer. It's a really good one. When do you know, like with an existing employee, when, like, let's say you're having issues, you're coaching, you're developing, and doing your best to give them the best opportunity to be as good as they can be in the position that they're in. When do you get to the point where it goes from, okay, this person is no longer falling under coaching and development and we got to get rid of this person?
So I think a big part of that, if the person is showing an eagerness and a drive, and that goes a long way for me. I had a guy who doesn't come from this industry at all. He's probably been with us about 2 months. the first 2 to 3 weeks, I was having conversations with upper management. I'm like, dude, this guy really isn't performing. But I mean, I'm telling you, when I say I was his biggest fan, I was his biggest fan. Dude, come in here, dressed to the nine, like a younger kid. Just really, he would walk past my office and I was like, dude, I hope he does good today. Like, I genuinely was really rooting for the kid. The first like week, he was just sucking air, dude. Like, just wasn't really good. Going into the second week, same thing. And I'm like, I think we need to have a conversation with him. But you could see that the work ethic was there. Like, he was a really genuinely really good dude, like really straight moral compass, like was doing the right thing, just really putting in the work, and it just wasn't clicking for him. And then, 3 weeks later, we gave him like a 3-week grace period, a 4-week grace period, and then it just clicked and he's just killing it. Like, so I think if people will say a lot of things and are like, hey, I'm really trying, it's my second day, but I'm going to have to call off today because I wasn't able to make it. Dude, if I told you that there was $10,000 here, you'd find a way to get here. So like, I think people's actions speak louder than words, obviously. So, I mean, I think the people that are really trying to put in the work and really doing whatever they can and really showing up early and staying late and really putting in the time to spend and learning the material and learning what we're trying to get people to do, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. Show me, don't tell me.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was there an aha moment for him? Was there something that was, he was trained on, or something he realized he was doing or not doing where it clicked?
I think it was just getting those swings at bat, really, kind of thing. Like he didn't come from this industry, he has no clue at all what he was doing. So I think, yeah. So I think it was just a matter of getting him to finally get familiar and get comfortable, if that makes sense. He was putting in the effort, he was putting in the time. It was just a matter of, I think, getting to a point where he almost kind of got out of his own way, if that makes sense. He kind of got the nerves figured out and kind of understood what he was tasked to do. And yeah, I mean, he's been killing it.
Love that. Well, shout out to that employee.
Yeah.
You know who you are. What is so obviously your company has evolved over the last year, 2 years, right? So what is a challenge that you're facing today that you weren't facing 2 years ago, and how are you working through it?
I would honestly say our biggest challenge right now is the amount of growth that we're having. To be able to, and it's such a good problem to have. But being able to, I mean, when I first started with you guys, I mean, last year, I think we had 11 employees and now we're at 34. So with that amount of growth and that amount of install volume that we're trying to keep up with, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is being able to deal with that growth and deal with that influx of jobs that we're trying to get on the schedule and having production try to keep up. I'd say that's probably our biggest hurdle right now that we're trying to work through. So
how are you tackling it?
As best we can. I mean, we're like, it's tough, dude, because it's like, I mean, our jobs that we need to install are really filling up and piling up. And it's a matter of having a conversation with supply houses that we're like, hey, this is where we're at. And we have a really good relationship with our current supply houses, where it's like, hey, this is where we're at. We're going to need 60-day terms just because waiting on money to come in. So again, going back and developing those relationships, talking with subs, talking with supply houses, talking with dumpster companies, and just letting them know, like, hey, we appreciate your patience. This is where we're at in the process. We've been working with you for the last 5-6 years, and we're just experiencing some growth right now.
Yeah, I love that answer. And I think it's important to kind of reiterate to the audience, all right? Whether you're at $1 million, you're at 5 million, you're at 15 million, 50 million, like, you don't always have the fucking answer.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And that's where you start to, go to the drawing board with your leadership team, or if it's just you, it might be you and your wife, or you and a project manager, or you and a salesperson. And you start to diagnose, what issues are we having? What is the root cause of the issues? How do we work through them? Right. So, okay, cash flow is an issue. We're doing a lot of jobs, but we're, typically net 30. Okay, so now we talk to the supplier. We have that conversation. Now we test how that works out. Okay, they're receptive to it. Cash flow's coming in. It's paid off. This is fantastic. Like, okay, problem solved. But there's so many things that can kind of wrinkles within the business, things that go sideways that you've got to be able to pivot on a dime. You've got to be aware of. Have that awareness, and then reverse engineer potential resolutions to those issues, and then you kind of test them, right?
Yeah.
And some issues are more substantial than others. Some are less meaningful, but at the end of the day, like if you're looking through the lens of, okay, I'm aware of these issues, these are potential solves. Let's try this one first. If that one doesn't work, like that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit there and fucking beat yourself up all night about it, because something failed. Fantastic. Fail. Yeah. Let's try the next one, right?
Yep.
Maybe that one didn't work. Third time, drilled it. Perfect. It works for everybody. Created a frictionless experience for all cycles of the job fulfillment. Admin's happy, customers happy, sales guys happy, I'm happy, suppliers happy. Everyone's happy. This was great. I'm glad we got there, right?
Yeah.
I think there's, through my conversations with a lot of, younger and smaller contractors throughout the years, there's always this assumption that this guy, he's doing 15 million, so he's got it all figured out. It's like a parent, right? Like, you kids look at you and they think you know all the answers, and for some reason they still don't listen to you. And it's like, dude, I don't know. I'm trying shit. I'm doing my best. Especially if you're a first time parent. I've never been a parent before, man. We're just figuring this shit out as we go. But network, you hit on that earlier. It's super critical. If you've got people that have been where you've been, done what you've done, have the experience, have failed in different ways, and you can cut down your learning curve, pay down your ignorance tax just by having conversations and being intentional about serving each other, that is so impactful to any company, right?
Absolutely.
Because you can try those 3 different things, or if you have 5 people in your network that have been there and you're talking to 5 different, and 3 of them are saying the same thing, like, I would do this because of X, Y, and Z. We tried this, it didn't work. Well, guess what? Now you don't have to fail those 2 times to get to the third right answer. Yeah. And I think networking is a really underutilized tool in the bag for a lot of businesses. They get so consumed with the Groundhog Day thing that you were talking about. It's like, just got to make it through today. Just got to make it through the week. Dude, we just got to get to November. Man, come January, let's just get to fucking 2026, right? Yeah. But the same inputs will create the same outputs. So unless you change something, you're lying to yourself, right? That day's not going to come where things are just going to feel better. Yeah. Yep. It's tough, man.
No, yeah, it definitely is. And even getting to a point where you can put your ego aside. I feel like for a lot of guys, I talk to a lot of guys in the space, it's few and far between to meet people like Eric, and that can have an honest conversation and let people know, dude, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. Like we've been in business 6 years, and for the first 4, it was rough. I mean, you're just to be able to, again, have those conversations with guys and be vulnerable to people in the space, other business owners. Dude, I talk to some people and it's like, oh, we're doing 16 million and things are going great. We have no problems. Come to find out they're doing $1.5 million. They can't walk into certain supply houses because they owe them money and they're 90 days late. Like, just to be able to have those open and honest conversations with other people in the space who've been where you've been. Dude, they can save you a lot of time if you just put your ego aside and have a conversation with them and learn from them.
Yeah, and social media and how people portray themselves and what they actually are, there's usually a pretty big delta between those 2 things. But also, like, that's the shitty side of social media. But it's also a great conduit to growing a network, right? If you hop into a group with 20,000 roofers, start seeing who's engaging, who's saying what. Shoot them a DM, right? Knocking doors, in a storm impacted area. Like, maybe 9 of them tell you to go fuck yourself, but that 10th one who's willing to bend an ear and give you some insights costs you nothing. Just a little bit of effort, right? And then serve them, right? How can I help you? Yeah, because everyone can learn something from somebody else, right? And you don't have to be more successful or further out down the road of success in life. Like, there's opportunities for, some random person on the street to teach me something that's absolutely mind blowing. I just got to be willing to listen. And if you have 2 people that are willing to listen and collaborate, some beautiful things can come out of those conversations.
Yeah.
Both people.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
What questions you got for me? You got anything?
Oh man. What's the biggest thing that you see with your business right now? I mean, I feel like we've been kind of working through EOS almost at the same time and stuff, but like, what are some things that you see? Like, how has it been with trying to get your team to buy into the vision, the overall 1 year and 3 year vision of things? Like, how do you, because I feel like we're kind of like the same on that. Like we hire for culture too. Like it's a big part of us. Like dude, Charlie's a killer dude. Like I love Charlie. Like you got good people. You got good people working for you.
Thanks, man.
So how do you find? Do you feel like you've had good success with hiring people? I know you said it's one of your least favorite things, but do you feel like you've had good success hiring people because of that? Like you're hiring for that culture? And the second part is like, how do you find getting people to buy into that vision of Ascent?
Yeah, so we're still working. We're not at the point where we've rolled it out to the entire team. It's the leadership team right now. And I think for the most part, I've built enough trust through leadership over the years that, and I make it a group conversation. It's not Mike coming in and dictating like, oh, these are our core values. This is what we're doing. This is the 3-year. It's like it's an open dialogue.
Yeah.
We weigh in, and ultimately we come to a conclusion of, okay, this is what makes sense. And I think that through hiring prior for those positions, I did seek that alignment, because ultimately I know that these folks have to deal with me, and I'm not the easiest person to deal with.
Yeah.
I'll say it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I want what I want, and and it is what it is, right? We all have our personality, who we are. So like that was always important to me, even before like starting down the journey of EOS. So it's been relatively smooth sailing in that regard. I think that we lose a lot of potentially good candidates because how expressive and transparent I am as far as like expectation. Like, look, like you're going to spend more time with us than you probably spend with your family, right? It's a demanding job. It's constantly moving. It's fluid. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to continuously learn. And what I expect from you is to consistently put your all into being the best that you can every day, right? And that's not easy. Here's our core values. This is what we expect. And like, I want, like all that being said, I want you to enjoy your job. I want you to have fun. We have a great team, great culture, great office, all these things. However, like accountability is the number one core value, and for better or worse, right? Like I want it to be flagrantly obvious when you're doing a fantastic job. The other side of that is if you're not, it's also going to be flagrantly obvious. Right? Yeah. That's not going to be tolerated. Like we'll obviously put energy into coaching, developing, and making sure that you have the best environment possible to be as successful as you can be. But it's sink or swim in that regard, right?
Yeah.
And I think that turns some people off, and that's fine, right? It's like not every customer is your customer. Not every candidate's your next team member. There's nothing wrong with that. I had a guy, I asked him what his pet peeves were, and then he turned it around on me. He's like, "What's your pet peeves?" I was like, the people that consistently dismiss how important people's times are. So, like, if you say you're going to be somewhere, be there, right? So, if you're coming to the office at 8:00 and you're consistently rolling in at 8:06, or you're out the door at 4:57, I was like, that bothers me.
Yeah.
Mentioned later on in the conversation, he's like, it concerns me that you're paying that close attention, to something like when somebody's coming in or leaving. And I was like, well, it's not necessarily an intentional focus, but I observe patterns. I'm naturally just an aware person, right? So if I notice for whatever reason that you're coming consistently late, like it's disrespectful to the job, it's disrespectful to me, but most importantly, your team members, right? Because we have a standard here, and the standard is not show up late, leave early. If anything, it's show up a little early, leave a little bit late.
Yeah.
But if you want to come in on time and leave on time, that's fine, right? I was like, but if you're concerned about that, it's probably not the job for you, right?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. I think it also comes down to just doing what you say. Like if you say you're going to be there at a certain time, but hold yourself accountable too. Like that's the biggest thing. So.
Yeah, I've always had that's always been a pet peeve, even way before I was in business, when people just, are consistently late. It's like, why? when I was in college and I was working full time, I had a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 8-year-old, depending on what time of the spectrum we're looking at. Like I'm running 16, 17-hour days, right? So in my mind, if I can make time available for you and I could be on time, how can you not find a way to do the same? And honestly, I took that shit super personally for a really long time.
Yeah.
I've softened on that a bit. I'm like, people are who they are. Different people operate differently, and like you value this person, so just expect that if you say 6:30, it's going to be 6:45, and don't be upset about it. Like there's no about it.
Yeah.
But still, in the professional environment, like I expect that you show up on time. It's the bare minimum. It's the one thing that, for the most part, you can control.
Yeah.
A lot of things in a business you can't control, but for the things that you can, we should. So that's that.
Yeah.
It's a long and short answer. How'd I do?
That was great. That was perfect. 10 out of 10.
What else you got?
Where do you see this? How do you see the space changing? I know Google's making some changes. It seems like coming up. How do you see the space evolving, especially like with AI and the changes that Google's making? Like, how do you see the change, or how do you see the horizon for your space? What things do you'll have to adapt to, maybe?
Yeah, I think a lot of the fundamentals will remain the same, right? So if you look at some of the historical big changes, whether it's, social media, it's Google, search engines, right? Yahoo, Bing, then Google. And Google started dominating. People were on MySpace, and it was Facebook, and it was Instagram. It's like, okay, if you look at the core, right? Like social media, what is it there for? It's for people to engage, to share things, honestly, for people to escape their reality in a lot of instances, distract themselves and just kind of take a step back. But like on search engines, like it's never really changed. Like think about Ask Jeeves. You ever use Ask Jeeves back in the day?
No.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
No.
We were like a poor family, so we had this thing called Web TV that like gave you internet on your TV, and like there was this search engine, Ask Jeeves, where you could ask Jeeves, this little butler guy.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Yep.
It's always the same thing, right? If it's a search engine, the mission is to give people the best recommendation for whatever it is that they're searching for, because the more times that you can do that, the more likely people are to use your search engine again. And then you get to a point where the amount of eyeballs and traffic that you're getting would make it very appealing for people to pay you to be on that platform, right? Like that's the monetization model.
Yeah.
So whether it was Bing or Google or, now partly like ChatGPT, LLMs, the premise is still the same. And there's only, a finite number of things that are going to help make you relevant and make search engines trust you. I think that there should be a much larger focus than I typically have seen on, video content and brand. I think that like local links, chambers of commerce, things like that are critical. I think that understanding that, if ChatGPT continues to take market share from Google, which it may not, maybe it's Perplexity, maybe it's none of them. But I think it's important to understand that like contextually what's being searched is a lot different, right? It's not just keyword search. And it is used for that, I'm sure. But a lot of the times, like I know that the way that I use AI, I'm giving it a lot of context. I'm saying, hey, this is the situation. This is the challenge that I'm facing. What are some solutions for this, right? So it's a different conversation. So basically how you're going to curate written content or video content in order to be relevant in that area should be a little bit different, right? Than just like, hey, here's our primary keyword, here's our secondary, here's our second or tertiary keyword.
Yeah.
What we're trying to rank for.
Yeah.
Brand mentions, so getting mentioned on different websites, getting links from different websites, especially locally. I've been devising, and we're going to have this conversation soon. I've got 3 done already, but really like an aggregate list of local like chamber of commerce, builder associations for all of our clients. And the cool thing about it is like that's a 1.0 strategy. So you can get, let's say, 10 local backlinks from these chambers of commerce, and it's going to cost you $6,000. Okay. But the 2.0 to get more brand mentions and backlinks locally and more opportunities as far as strategic partnerships is now we leverage, if we've got 10 different chambers of commerces, we've got 10 different resources that we can leverage for common ground with other members of those chambers, right? So you think, okay, who would make sense as a strategic partner for a roofing company? HVAC companies, plumbing companies, electrical companies. Like, think of the same people that are already working with or are attempting to sell the same shit to the same people you are, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like, find house cleaners, dude. I don't know any broke motherfuckers that have someone come clean their house once a month, twice a month, once a week. Find those people and get them to start sending you referrals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The likelihood that individual they're sending you has money and that's one less objection is, substantially better, right?
Yeah.
But then also, it's like, hey, I noticed that, you're a member of the local commerce. We joined recently because obviously we're trying to help ourselves, help the community, and help everyone around us. I think we've got an opportunity where we can do that, right? Start that dialogue, use that common ground to build the rapport. And it's like, hey, let's do a blog post on each other's website and exchange links.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And ideally, you do that strategically. You're not just doing it with any company. You find the ones that are investing into online marketing, that have a strong local presence, have trust with search engines. Now you start to piggyback off of one another. The 3.0 to that is like, hey, like you guys have, a great reputation. I noticed you got 500 reviews on Google, 5 stars. Like, let's figure out how we can help each other on a referral basis, right? So you take that initial value and parlay that into multiple steps that can really be substantial as far as positive impact to your company. But that's the tedious shit that most people don't want to do.
Yeah. Yep.
I think doing a lot more of that is going to help really set aside companies and compress the timeline that it takes to have that dominance.
Well, I think it's something that you always preach too. It's like I can hire us and I can say, we need leads right away. What's a PPC? What's, GMB, like doing all this stuff. But like, until you get the fundamentals of building a brand and being like that 5 mile famous and doing things in your community and sponsoring, like, again, my girl Mackenzie, I mean, she's been huge in helping us with that. I mean, the last year, it's just branded, community involvement, really getting our name and really getting our brand out there. And because of that, our advertising dollars go so much further. Like the amount of organic traffic that we get just from being involved in the local community and putting our faces out there. I mean, it's huge. I mean, you and Charlie say it. So, I mean, taking the digital marketing side out of it, like, I mean, until you get the fundamentals of like step one, like really focus on building the brand. I mean, that can only set you up for success if you do it the right way.
Yeah. Preach, brother. Preach.
Yeah.
It's so true, right? Because there's also more inherent trust as well, right? Which is part of building a brand identity and building that brand equity. If people are consistently seeing you associated with things that you don't have to be associated with, but you're putting in time, energy, and effort into the community.
Yep.
For a demographic, let's say homeowners that don't typically trust roofers, that shit goes a long way.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's okay to leverage some of that stuff in promos on social media to show that you guys are popping out to these places. A lot of people get, they're like, I feel icky. I'm like, it's not like you're going around and buying a homeless person a cheeseburger and fucking filming them eating it. And like, look how great I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, here's our team on site. We're sponsoring a kickball league, or, we're doing X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, it's okay. It's okay to do that.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Well, dude, this was amazing. I'm so glad that you were willing to take some time and chop it up with me. It's always a pleasure connecting.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. This was fun for sure.
There'll be a part 2 coming soon. Don't worry. Thanks again to the team at Roofer for help making this happen. Great folks over there. Click the link in the description, see how they can help you. And thank you to you tuning in today. You're the real MVPs, because without you, there's no point in doing this. Make sure that you share this with somebody that'll help. I'm sure it'll help somebody. You have a responsibility to help them. Share it. All right, and we're gone.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.